Доброе утро, дорогая семья, родственники и все братья и сестры. Good morning, dear family, relatives, brothers and sisters, and guests. It's almost time to begin the service. Would everyone please be seated? Those who have not had a chance to walk through and offer their respects will have an opportunity to do so later in the program. Thank you. Everyone, please be seated. You'll have an opportunity to pay your respects later in the program. Begin, we kindly ask everyone to please turn off your cell phones, ringers, and notifications. And please be advised that the service will be live streamed. My name is Gary Tarasov, and this is Natasha Tamayo, and we're honored to have been personally asked by Laura almost exactly a year ago to officiate her traditional Liturgical funeral service. Sadly, we did not expect to have to fulfill this promise so soon.
Thank you for joining us as we commemorate the life of Laura Savinkoff, offering solace to her family and aiding her soul's transition from earthly life to eternity through our prayers, songs, and other offerings. Today's service will be a bit different from a typical Liturgical funeral. Laura did things her own way, and so we honor her today by incorporating elements of other traditions that meant much to her into our usual Liturgical program. The first tradition being the peace tradition. So, yeah, as you can see, today's part peace rally and part funeral.
Soon we'll have the boundary drummers begin and end the service today, and we'll not be going to the cemetery, as Laura's remains will be cremated. This allows time for a longer program. Before we go downstairs for lunch, Laura was involved with many groups, and today there are many speakers, some of whom have long distance to honor her. Because the program will be longer than usual, we'll have an intermission partway through, during which the congregation will sing to give people time to stretch their legs, use the washroom, and walk through to pay their respects to the deceased and offer condolences to the family.
You may have noticed that Tatiana was busy all morning handing out the white poppies pins. The white poppy is usually worn in the days leading up to Remembrance Day as a symbol of remembrance and peace. They were first introduced in 1933 in the aftermath of World War I by women who had lost family and friends in the war. They wanted to hold on to the key message of Remembrance Day: never again. White poppies stand for three things: remembrance of all victims of war, including both civilians and members of the armed forces, challenging war and militarism, as well as any attempt to glorify or celebrate war, and a commitment to peace and seeking nonviolent solutions to conflict. We're wearing white poppies today in memory of Laura, who was a dedicated member of the peace movement for many years and was pivotal in the promotion and distribution of the white poppy pins.
Our traditional Durmayania or prayer service will begin shortly, but first we'll have a presentation by the boundary drummers to open the service. Boundary drummers, please begin.
I was asked to talk for a minute about drums. They're sacred items from rawhide wood, and they're gifts from the Creator. And they are always made with good hearts and with good intentions. The first song we're going to sing, songs are sung for various reasons. There are sacred songs, ceremonial songs, honor songs, and songs that are just for joy. Today, the first song we're going to do is the Cherokee Morning Song, which another name is Wende Yaho. This was one of Laura's favorite songs. And the second song we're going to do was written by a Willamette Nation grandmother. It's called the Woman's Warrior Song. This totally represents the strength and passions of Laura on her journey through life. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Boundary Drummers, for honoring Elizabeth and us with your songs. To remember and say goodbye to a most remarkable woman, Laura Savinkoff. A loving mother, grandmother, sister, and a dear community member, visionary and friend to many. She was more than words can describe. Laura was blessed with the gifts of communication, inspirational leadership, and compassion, serving as a catalyst who facilitated collaboration and collective action amongst diverse groups of people. She possessed a kind and loving heart, tempered with strength and conviction. Her service, passion, and dedication to her values and beliefs earned her a place as an archetypal Duke elder, spiritual wrestler, not only in the Grand Forks community, but also among other communities in British Columbia and beyond. She demonstrated courage, honesty, and honor through her long-term and life business and way of being. Laura was an inspiration for young and old. I had the privilege of getting to know Laura while serving together on the USCC Spiritual and Cultural Development Committee. Our collaboration blossomed into a special connection and friendship. Both Natasha and I feel blessed to have had Laura in our lives. Laura touched many people and effected meaningful change, leaving behind a legacy of countless good deeds. She was deeply loved by family and friends, and will be missed by all. Grand Forks and the whole world will not be the same without her. How does one touch eternity? Our essence continues even after our passing, as children and descendants, as deeds, creations, and ideas, as spiritually as soul, and in the hearts of those we touch. Through simple, everyday acts of kindness, attention, and love, Laura has earned a place in eternity and accomplished extraordinary things along the way. And she is not done yet. Her legacy lives on in her beautiful family, in the various communities she touched, and in all those she inspired. Wieczniakami w Carstwie Niebieskim.
Before we begin our prayer service today, Gary and I will share an introduction to our Magania, or prayer service process, and a song adaptation. Dukhors believe that the soul is eternal, and that a person's life on earth is only one part of their soul's journey. Every human being is not just a physical body, but a timeless, eternal spirit, or a divine spark of God that inhabits the body for a time and then leaves it behind when called by God. When a person passes away, Dukhors gather both to honor the life of the person who has passed and to assist the soul in transitioning to another state of being. To properly honor Laura's soul today, we turn this hall into a sacred space. How do we do that? In Dukhor tradition, it is not with symbols or ornaments, but with our presence, with our loving thoughts and intentions, and with our voices. We can create sacred space by being quiet and solemn throughout the funeral process. We can hold kindness and love in our hearts for the departed one, Laura, and for her grieving family. And we can join in the singing.
For those of you who may not be familiar with Dukhor traditions, we'll now explain a few of the elements of our prayer service. As Dukhors, we don't have any symbols of our faith, the way other traditions do. The only symbolic items we use are the bread, salt, and water on the table in front of the room, which represents the basic elements of life. You may have noticed that when we enter the hall, we bow and exchange a greeting in Russian. Part of it goes like this. Christos Voskres, which means Christ has arisen, Vaistine Christos Voskres, which means Christ has arisen in the faithful ones. This is our way of acknowledging the spark of the divine that lives within each of us. If we leave the hall during the service, we leave the place quietly and walk to the end of the room. Then we turn and face the congregation and bow to acknowledge that we were leaving sacred space. Then we make a similar bow when we return.
At this time, we remind everyone to please keep quiet and calm, both during the singing and during the other portions of our service. We're all glad to see each other, and we all want to talk and whisper together. But please remember that we're holding sacred space for the Lord's soul, and we should honor this. The first part of our time together today will consist of a Dukabor prayer service, or Malenia. Dukabor psalm singing is remarkable due to its distinct deep breathing, which results in a calming and healing effect on us. When we're calm and at peace, we're able to connect with others and feel empathy and love. We're present with ourselves, present with others, and present in the now, and more open for the Holy Spirit, Svetoy Duch, the breath of God, to move through us. As we sing, we're just being, breathing, letting go, loving, and being loved.
When we sing, we leave behind our disagreements, our uncertainties, our strains and sorrow. The harmonies we create together heal us, body, mind, emotions, and soul. Even if you don't know the words, even if you have never sung it before, we encourage you to sing along or hum along if you can, and help create and maintain the sacred space that we are creating here.
And imagine, if you will, for a moment, Laura's soul, present here with us like a luminous butterfly. This soul, this divine spark of consciousness, is on its way home to its loving Creator, and our prayers and singing are meant to help it on its journey. Thank you. And now I will share a poetic adaptation of the traditional Dukabor song, Soitim Sime Bratia. We come together as brothers and sisters. We come together as brothers and sisters to pray, to unite into one community, one living whole. We come together to sing, and the sound of our voices lifts our spirits and opens our hearts. Every time we meet, we bless one another. Every time we meet, we create sacred space. Today, one precious soul has left us. It has left life on earth behind. Let us sing for the soul, brothers and sisters. Let us surround the soul with singing as it returns home to its source, the divine. The divine will say to it, beautiful soul, living hope. While you lived, you did your best to honor the truth and follow wise teachings. Now come home to me. Come home to the light that was always inside you. I'm so glad to see you, to welcome you back to myself. Your life on earth was a beacon of light, an example for others to follow.
We will now begin the Millennia or prayer service by reciting psalms, beginning with the family. Every family member who wants to can read a psalm, and then we will ask one brother and one sister from the congregation to do so as well. We now ask all those who are able to please rise.
Destroy was the Father. чтобы все те, кто явились несчастливы, и любили без веры, и поняли закон Твой возлюбили, который Ты, Господи, создал в нашей жизни.
Господи, Господи. Пресвятой звезда Господня, Мать Мария Христа Спасителя. Родился Бог всем Бог, родился Царь всем Царь. Ире Царь возвышаться стал, Христос неизданный Сын Спаситель. Всем старцам, всем младенцам, всем любим. Победы бери ваши, не видай, ваши младенцы Христа
Mr. Bible, Watch Nash, Board's reference about the Altogether, we now cite to watch of Lord's Prayer in Russia. Today, last love you. Христос воскрес! Please be seated. Sing three psalms and one hymn. Each psalm will first be recited in English, then recited in Russian, and then sung. We'll begin with the psalm, Внезапно меня, братья, I left this life suddenly. It is on page 2 of the songbook and number 8 in the Вечной Памяти. Пожалуйста, прочитаем пsalm Внезапно меня, братья. English is by Christine Thompson, recited in Russian by Shirley Wilson, and singing through Mary Potter.
Please pray for us. I live this life suddenly. I did not expect to die so soon. When I was with you, laughing and telling stories,
The next morning, I was ready for my bed. Spend this last hour with you, friends and loved ones. Give me one last gift, your love. Keep me company as I start my journey into the unknown. As my soul leaves this earth, who will be there to meet? Angels, divine messengers, will meet my soul and lead me toward a place where I will see every minute of life I have lived. Both the moments of pain and suffering, and those of contentment and joy. Why did I suffer? My soul will ask the angels. They will say, you suffered when you felt separate from the source of everything. You suffered when you felt anger, envy, or mistrust, or when you felt doubt or fear. And when you felt joy, my soul longs. The angels will say, you felt joy when you felt connected to the source and to the world. You felt joy when you felt kindness, forgiveness, and generosity, when you felt gratitude and love. So where do I go now? My soul will ask the angels. There is only one place to go, they say. Come home. Thank you, Divine One.
Eu dava minha bratjes verkligen klassen ziel. Basera mina bratjes verkligen. Gloria sono bratje di sera di servo. About tue bratje para buju. Sabeis sono bratje basilinas. Provatis minha bratje potiam trabalhar. Como é possível trabalhar e como é possível deixar? Se já mais possível, vai. Perlindungan untuk bahagia, karena Kristus mengasihani.
Tonight and sing a song, Stay Down Maria, Poor-Hearted Mary, Devoted Mother. It is on page 1 of the songbook, number 36 in the Edition of Hines. It will be recited in English by Margaret Savinkoff, recited in Russian by Eileen Boykin, and will be singing starter Eileen Boykin. Пожалуйста, прочитаем исполнен Псалом «Чистая Дева Мария».
The chaste Virgin Mary, Divine One, please grant your blessing. Pure-hearted Mary, devoted Mother, how blessed you are. You gave birth to a divine child, Jesus, who became the Christ. How blessed you are, Mary, that Christ consciousness is also born within you. So why are you unhappy, Mary? Why are you in tears? Mary said, my only child, my beautiful son Jesus is leaving me. Who will love me like he does? Who will hold me while I grieve? Who will comfort me when he is gone? Mother, Jesus said, loving people are all around you. Trust them. Let them comfort you. Do not cling to your grief, and do not think I am gone forever. My spirit will live on. When my soul leaves this body, it will go home to its source, to rest in light and love and peace. Remember, my love is always with you. When your own life comes to an end, the immeasurable love of the divine will surround you. And you too will go home to rest in light and love and peace. Thank you, Divine One.
Чистая Дева Мария, из сердца Божьего числа, родила нас Сына Иисуса, сама Мать благодати, развитие Твоем Христе Божьем, беспрестанно Ты, Мать, питаешь, благодать зла и представишь. О Господи, Ты мой возлюбленный, бесславный Ты мой, Иисус Христос. На кого Ты не, Мать, покидаешь, кому свое отзываешь, кому своим благословием, кто утешит печальному. Христос на кресте, наречен Иоанном, сына Наречия. Нарекает тебя мать Иоанном сына. Он во время тебе не таким, не славливый и беспощадный. Не видать, моя мать, не повышай меня удачи. Моя смерть жизнь вечная. Я на третий день воскресну, на небесах вознесусь, ангелами буду торжествовать, исправить и грехи давать. Когда ты, моя мать, пришествленная, я не ангел тебя сошью, а сам тебя свою, и сам твою душу на небо возьму. О, наш Бог.
In the Garden of Gethsemane. It is on page 2 of the songbook, number 11 in Wiecznia Planet. Will be recited in English by Natasha Knox, recited in Russian by Matthew Jacobs, and singing starter is Bill Tappan. Пожалуйста, прочитаем из Пsalm Псалом Саду Гефсиманский.
Lord, give us thy blessing. In the Garden of Gethsemane, he stood there alone, sorely burdened with life and death struggle. To the all-gracious Father, in unbearable longing, pray for the patient and long-suffering Son. If possible, dear Father, let this cup pass me by, but then, in all things, let thy will be done. And he turned to the apostles with thoughts that were troubled, but heavy with slumber. The apostles slept like always. And softly he said to them, were you really not able to labor with me even 1 single hour? Commence even praying, for your bodies are weak. And so he again went to pray by himself. If thus it should be that it can't pass me by, this cup just could not be avoided, then let it be so. Be it done as you wish, my dear Father. And again, deadly fear kept encompassing him. His sweat dripped like blood upon Mother Earth as he waited in immeasurable anguish. And so once again to the apostles he went, but all the apostles were deeply in slumber. And all the same words to his Father he said. He fell on his face, and he wept, and he prayed. So his made in this struggle so trying. Oh, only I could pray in Gethsemane's garden and see the footprints made by those dogged feet, and weep there with tears hot and burning. If I could but kneel down upon that cool sand and there kiss the earth so divine, where ever so lonely love suffered so much, where sweat from his brow kept dripping like blood, where fate's bitter cup he eluded. Oh, if only that night, immortal, on that terrible night of redemption, to the tired, weary breast of the martyr, would have given but one word of compassion. But all remained calm in the dark of the night. The apostles slept on in their sleep so oppressive, oblivious to impending disaster. And to Gethsemane's garden with club and with sword, influenced by Judas and in hiding from hell, came people in hordes that were countless.
Să drugi stimanți, să iau unii, izgorni drugi, Отсутствие Богом, сгинется в ним, прольется страдающий крепость. Когда это возможно, пусть Отче, именует меня чаша сия, однако, да сбудется воля Твоя. И шел он под раздумой тревоги, но скорбный тяжкий прямой, под не спала, как я не говорю. И тихо сказал он им, как не могли бы один в час, отключиться со мной, молитесь, вот немощно важно. И шел он молиться опять. Но если не может меня миновать, ведь что дает эту час, чувствует, как хочет его. И много взял Бог выживает, и Бог его пал на землю, как кровь, и ждал он с гербом. И снова апостол он открыл, nos falem, pois, esse nome e veja falar com sua lei, e palma e só, e escrever, e fugir, os chais parente e tudo. Conhece-me amor, sacrificasse, e a vida de mal, e vire-se de ti, a projeção de nome, e chute-me, pátria servante. Conhece-me amor, o paz, na obra de só, e sempre gostar do seu tudo. Se a pátria de nós, tratado de bom, e a porta a fixar e ocupado, a cor, e a chacha com estalo na cor. Conhece-te do norte para o sus traços do norte e do bem. Skandal os meios de tudo, e a sua a novo cheio. Novela do seu filho, a colocar na mão. Apóstolo de fala, cada sessão. Da vez ou da vida em escola. A tarde se manda, recorda, se chama. De fome nenhum, a dele, a fome. E se não tem história na hora, por nós.
We'll now sing the hymn Vaimet Name Legendef in the name of blessed days. It's on page 2 of the songbook, number 55 in Veshnia Pamet. The starter will be Vicky Papa. Пожалуйста, споем стих Vaimet Name Legendef. We have concluded the first part of our prayer meeting, our Maria. Thank you all for your participation and your beautiful singing, and for creating this sacred space together. We'll now continue with speakers and presentations to honor the life of Laura Savinkoff. First, we'll hear from Laura's granddaughter, Adina McCordiff, who will share Laura's biography.
Morning, everyone. Thank you so much for being here to send off a very special person, my Baba, Laura Savinkoff. She would be so honored to know that she can still rally people together, even as her physical journey here on earth comes to an end. I'm Laura's granddaughter, Davina, and I have the honor and what feels like an impossible task of putting this wonderful woman's 73 years of life into words today. Laura Savinkoff was many things, including a dedicated mother, sister, grandmother, and great-grandmother. But for those not tied to her by blood or relation, she was just one of those people who was hard not to know. She had this amazing ability to create and be part of community wherever she went, offering her big heart and support to people who needed her. It fueled her tireless activism and involvement in a range of causes, all of which held the common goals of peace and social justice at their heart. Curious, determined, my Baba was someone who made sure she was heard, but she really did listen just as hard. These were traits that emerged early on in Laura's life. Laura was born at her family home on October 10th, 1950, in Winlaw, BC, to dutiful parents, Peter and Polly Rilke. She was the third of 4 sisters, preceded by Mary, Sally, and followed later by sister, Elsie. And she immediately had to learn how to share,
having been born right on Sister Sally's 4th birthday. The family struggled through 4 identities. Her relative grandparents had been part of the burgeoning Sons of Freedom movement, while her mother's side, the Cannigans, lived communally in Saskatchewan before settling in Whitlaw. Peter, Polly, and the 4 girls lived on a farm near an array of relatives. Laura was close to her Baba Rilke, and she developed a special bond with her Jed Cannigan, who she interviewed about his experience in the Duke community after immigrating to Canada. Those tapes now sit in the Canadian Museum of History in Gatineau, Quebec. Laura and her sisters attended Russian school alongside their regular classes, first at Winlaw Elementary and later W.E. Graham Secondary School. But Laura had to overcome some physical challenges before she could step foot in a classroom. A limp, noticed just as she started to walk, meant little Laura had to endure a half-body cast and later a brace that kept her in the same immobile position for months on end, just as this little human was ready to start exploring the world. That, I'm told, is how Laura started to develop her unwavering stamina. Once recovered and walking, she also started to speak, and ultimately to develop her voice. From the age of 7, she was already starting to raise questions and share her opinions on matters of life, spirituality, and religion. When family friends came to visit, a young Laura would elbow her way into the grown-ups' conversations until she was unceremoniously chased out of the room by exasperated parents. I'm sure it was frustrating for her, but that story does make me laugh, because that was undoubtedly my Baba. A young girl, eager and impatient to have a seat at the table with the grown-ups in the room. Laura was very bright, loved history and English, and had her nose in a book from the time she could read. She took part in drama and glee club, and, foreshadowing her political interests, managed campaigns for Friends seeking election to student council. Laura completed grade 11, still impressive for the time, and dreamed of becoming a lawyer. If she had had the opportunity to continue her education, there's no doubt she would have excelled and been a true force to be reckoned with in her room. But there were other plans in store. When she was 17, she met a 21-year-old Peter Savinkoff, whose sense of humor and interest in world affairs sparked a whirlwind romance that led to their marriage in late 1968. The couple immediately set off to the Sons of Freedom encampment in Agassiz, BC, where they had their first daughter, my mom, Lunia, in the spring of 1969. Their son Petya was born the following year. After stints in Winlaw and Passmore, her young family moved to the Sons of Freedom settlement in Gilpin, BC in 1973, where they had their youngest daughter, Polya, a year later. Gilpin and Grand Forks then became Laura's lifelong home. Laura dedicated herself to the role of wife and mother, and took on the gargantuan task of educating her children at home. Family trips would include going to Vancouver a few times a year and to the Kootenays to visit family. Once the children were older, Laura went to work to help supplement the family's income. She became a cook at Gillies, Honeydew, and Granby House, and later cooked at Hardy View and Boundary Lodge, jobs she truly treasured for giving her the opportunity to spend time with elders in the community. And anyone who had the privilege of tasting my Baba's food can confirm how great her cooking became. Laura's community involvement took root when she began advocating for Sons of Freedom community members in the 1980s, and later when she supported her husband Peter as he fought for an apology and compensation from the BC government for his internment in the New Denver Residential School. She also started to take part in cross-community activities, including serving as secretary for the Duke Centennial Coordinating Committee in the 1990s, which commemorated 100 years in Canada. Laura became a constant present in the local peace movement, attending marches and the annual Mother's Day Peace Walk at Asturias, something she continued to do every year and had planned to attend this coming May. Life changed slightly when Laura and Peter decided to go their separate ways in 2002. Laura was bold, opinionated, and courageous, someone willing to tread where a lot of people wouldn't. So with her children grown and her life in her own hands, my Baba put her passions to work, becoming a professional volunteer and activist. That included her work with the Boundary Peace Initiative, where she became a tireless coordinator, facilitator, newsletter writer, publisher, event planner, and public speaker. It's honestly been very hard to try to find everything she was involved in. But she serves as a director and president of the Boundary Museum Society, a representative for the Canadian Peace Alliance for BC, a coordinator for the BC Southern Interior Peace Coalition, and vice president of the Canadian Peace Congress. Laura advocated against nuclear weapons development, worked with Uranium-Free BC, trained in restorative justice facilitation, and was a local member of the Grand Forks Community Action Team. She helped launch the 24-hour Peace In, Peace Out event, raising money to help bring more conferences and speakers to the Kootenay Boundary area. That included a panel to discuss the horrific attacks on Palestine just a week before she passed. It was a great success and gained great reviews, leaving her inspired and raring to go for the next. It's really easy to see why she won a number of awards for her work, including Volunteer of the Year for the BC Southern Interior. She was also proud again to be nominated this past year as one of the outstanding women in the Boundary, an award she also received back in 2009. Laura also expanded her involvement in the Duke-War community and USCC in the past 15 years, where she found a different voice. Despite growing up in a Duke-War household, she said she only gained confidence in her singing after joining the Grand Forks Group of Friends Choir and All-Canadian Duke-War Choir in 2009. Many joyful years of singing followed, including at the annual Fall Fair in Grand Forks last September. My Baba also yearned to travel, not to holiday or to sit on a beach, but to learn about different cultures, ways of living, and the world. And she actually took her first flight out of Canada back in autumn 2019, when she came to visit me and my partner Alex in London. She was extremely excited and took in all the tourist attractions, like Big Ben, Parliament, and Windsor Castle. But, as was her way, she managed to create connections and community, even within her 2-week visit. My Baba met Quaker friends, organized a small impromptu dinner to mark the poignancy of Peter Lordley Berrigan, and somehow signed us all up for volunteering as the Peace Pledge Union, packing up the white peace poppies for an evening, similar to the ones we're wearing today. We've truly been excited for another visit. Laura did all of this, volunteering, traveling, advocating, while dealing with a number of health issues. Ankle surgery and painful arthritis and joint problems hindered her mobility. She recently suffered from a bout of pneumonia, but still, despite the pain and struggles, she was making borscht, vareniki, organizing marches, events, protests, and was ready for the next challenge. But the Creator had other plans. Laura, who had been getting ready for Manania 2 weeks ago, suffered a heart attack on the morning of Easter Sunday. She passed away peacefully at Boundary Hospital in Grand Forks, with her daughters Winnie and Koya, sister Mary, granddaughter Tatiana, nieces Jackie and Suki, great-niece Allie, and great-nephew Jace by her side. Laura was predeceased by her father Peter and mother Polly Rilke, and ex-husband Peter Savinkoff. She is survived by her children Lunia Foyle, Pete Savinkoff, and Paulette Gagne, sisters Mary Levitt, Elsie Posnikoff, and Sally Plata-Winnick, grandchildren Karina McCorda, Leyland Foyle, Tamara Foyle, Drake Hennig, Tatiana Gagne, and Nikita Savinkoff, great-grandchildren Aiden and Connor Foyle, and Levi Hennig, as well as a wide network of extended family and close friends, too numerous to list. She taught us all to stand up for what we believe in, to be strong, independent individuals, to value ourselves, our relatives, and our Duke-War heritage. And I think her message was summarized succinctly in 2020 when she wrote, "We must be willing to work, not just talk, willing to stand firm and not fold,
And that when the going gets a bit tough, willing to extend our hand of loving kinship to our neighbors, community, and global family. Laura will be lovingly missed by her family and friends. May the Creator accept her soul into his heavenly kingdom, and may she rest in peace.
Thank you very much, Helena, for sharing your this fascinating story. You can only scratch the surface of who Laura was.
Now we ask Laura's granddaughters, Tatiana Gagne and Tamara Noel, to share their home right behind me.
Ode of a Mother by Laura Savinkoff, written on June 29, 2009. There was a time not so long ago it was good to be alive, taking in the sights and sounds of children and grandchildren, of birds and rustling leaves, and water running past, but the time has come. My inner voice is saying the Creator is calling me to my home to rest from earthly cares. My journey here is done. My lessons learned and completed, the Creator says to me, you know, dear one, your loved ones will be protected, guided, and well cared for. So now, dear ones, I must leave you in the eyes of the Creator as I am, with open spirit to rest and be renewed.
Thank you so much, and that was a beautiful poem written by your papa for this moment.
We would like to ask Laura's nieces, Valentina Luciano and Galina Haddock, to say a few words and sing a song.
In the stillness of midnight, oh, precious memories, unseen angels, sent from somewhere to my soul. How precious Father, in all tears of my childhood, in all memories here, I remember my sun is sinking, shadows falling, but we're still falling. Precious memories,
I first met Aunt Laura. I first met Aunt Laura when I was 2.5 years old, and Sister Galena was 3 months. When Uncle Peter introduced us, he said, "This is your Theological." On our recent trip to Victoria, Tuata reminded me of how we first met. She said, I instantly ran to her, sat on her lap, and stuck to her like glue. I recall many memories at our home in Anglesey, such as watching soap operas with Tuata on a little battery-operated TV, which my dad had set up, as well as the daily morning visits to either our house or Papa's and the others for coffee and conversation. Also, the regular musical gatherings at Uncle Johnny's place, never to be forgotten. Tuata often mentioned how much she loved living in Anglesey, where many friends and memories were made. Tuata also loved to read a lot. I can still picture her reading a novel with a bowl of freshly roasted sunflower seeds by her side. I remember her being a cool aunt. She showed us her collection of record albums, such as the Beach Boys, Peter, Paul and Mary, Dino, Desi and Billy, Nancy Sinatra, Billy Joe Royal, Herman's Hermits, and the Beatles. We asked her which was her favorite Beatle. When she said Ringo Starr, we all burst out in laughter. She also taught us all the cool 1960s dances, such as the crew, the pony, the twist, the swim, and of course the mashed potato. Thank you, Theological, for all of your wisdom, love, and care throughout the years. You were a big part of our lives, and will never be forgotten. When our families got together, there was always music and song. In Aunt Laura's memory, Lunia and Boyda will now come up and join us to sing Afar.
Thank you for your kind words and beautiful singing in honor of Laura, her auntie, and your mom.
And in your voices, it was like we could hear the echoes of all the other family members who passed on. Laura has joined them. We now ask Drake Henning to deliver some messages on behalf of people who couldn't be here. Thank you.
Thank you very much for all the singing, the stories. I really, really appreciate that. My name is Drake. Grandma Baba was my step-grandma, and I realized I called her Grandma, but before I realized what I was saying, it was too late. She was Grandma Baba. So I'll read a couple of messages for people that weren't able to be here today. And this first message is from John Curry in Slow County, BC. I join with you, Laura's extended family, and her legion of friends to pay tribute to her inexhaustible energy, enthusiasm, and profound belief in the cause of peace, and the unity and action of all humankind in the struggle for a better world for all. It was an honor for me to have known her and worked with her in BC Boundary Peace Coalition in the cause of peace, banning all nuclear and conventional weapons, and for the settlement of all military conflict by negotiation. Her legacy will live on in the hearts and minds of the youth. Our next message is from Chris Cannigan. Hey, cousin. I was so very blessed to have you and have had you in my life, and to have experienced such great memories, whether in Grand Forks or in England. Your mother was such an icon and a wonderful beacon for humanity and the pursuit of peace in the world. I can remember all the two-war rights and freedoms that she fought for, and all the peaceful protests and activities that she not only attended, but organized. I remember maybe even 10 years back when I was on Facebook, her posts about freedom and injustices for Palestine. Many years before it became mainstream or popular. I remember her gentle soul one time telling me that you should not kill a mouse in your house, but rather feed him your bounty, which God bestows upon you. She was truly a loving woman and shared her fight for injustices whenever she had the opportunity. I hope these shared memories ease you in this time. Holly and I wish you light and love, and we'll have you both in our prayers. Love, Chris. This next one is from Kuzma Tarasov and Christina Kristova. Christina and I were saddened to learn the passing of your grandmother, Laura Savinkoff, at the end of March 2024. We have known her for several decades as a person of passion in her life journey. Laura always spoke out for creating a world of universal peace. She often spoke out with truth. Laura will indeed be missed by relatives and friends across the country. Her quest for equity, for truth, and for world peace was always on her mind. We are all thankful for her, for adding her voice over many years. Thank you, Laura, for making your mark in our society. May she rest in peace. Miloshnia Omniet. This next one is from Zoe Jackson, a BC ombudsperson in office, kind of a local municipal person. We are saddened to hear the sudden passing of Laura. Please pass on our sincere condolences to her family and all who knew her and worked with her. I recall her speaking at the reception. I am glad she was able to travel to Victoria last month to hear the apology in person. May her commitment to peace be a legacy for us all. 3 more messages here. This is from Ellen Strelayev. My heart go out to you both. Laura was a light in the community, not only USCC, but wider community, and will be missed by so many. I was already thinking about how different it would be without her at the Mother's Day Peace Walks in the sites. We'll have to pay tribute to your #1 peacemaker. The next message is from Toenia Samaratino. I'm very sorry for the loss of your beloved mother. And then there's 2 phrases in Russian that I don't know how to spell out that. Your mom was such an amazing woman who was steadfast in her activism, taking love into action. She is a source of great inspiration to me and so many. I saw how she loved her family very much and how much you loved her. I can feel the sadness of losing a parent. I give my condolences to you. Also, my regrets. I am unable to make it to the funeral. You and your family are in my hearts and prayers. May love, comfort, and console you all at this time of transition and always. Sincere. And our last message here is from Megan Hutton. Saying goodbye to you is one of the most heartbreaking things for me. You were my first friend when I moved to Grand Forks over 4 decades ago, and we've never lost touch. We experienced births of grandchildren, deaths, and the separations that come with a life journey. We had so many things in common and were never lost for words. You taught me so much about Doukhobor culture and history, and when Madison came along, it meant something special to us as she participated in peace marches and in the children's choir with your own brother. Your generosity in giving me a personal letter to include in my memoir was timely. Another teaching moment, because that's what your life's purpose was. I'll treasure the memories of our last visit in Toronto, dragging you all over the city to fit every experience I could think of. Looking for a princess dress for Tatiana in Casaloma. The fun photos we shared and the 12 quarts of borscht we made tied me over for the winter. I I loved you dearly, and whether you are, and wherever you are in another dimension, I will find you. You will be leading our organizing something. Until we meet again, all my love, my dear friend. Thank you. Thank you, Drake, for those warm messages.
Laura was a person who welcomed and appreciated all cultures, and it was important to her that we include some songs in English lyrics today. So please let's sing Amazing Grace, Ola Hadat, in both Russian and English. It's on page 3 of your song booklet, and you have this Wodnik, it's on page 438. It's fine. We'll sing 2 verses in Russian and then 2 in English. Пожалуйста, споем Ola Hadat. I'll start with it. We got going on that one.
We're coming from today, Grand Chief Stuart Phil, and Laura's sister in struggle, Phil, MLA for Vancouver Mount Pleasant. Please come up and share some words about Laura.
least Asian. Asian is my traditional name. It comes from Salao, at least with my father's name. I had the pleasure of meeting Laura when she invited us into this area years ago to share our common histories. She was such a fierce champion for peace. And it's through Laura that I learned the white poppy. So I started eating white poppies instead of the traditional red ones. She was such a wonderful person. She was so dedicated right to the last second. And we're so blessed that not only what she didn't accomplish, she's passing on to the next generation. So I just, I have a bit of a confession from Stuart, because he grew up in Cornell and his foster family, his mom made borscht. And he didn't like borscht. And he would manage to screw me off with a couple of quart jars of her eggs borscht. So we're really going to miss her. But as I said before, she's passed the torch to the next generation. So thank you for everything that she's been. She's been my inspiration and my sister in struggle. So I'm going to miss my friend.
Mike, please not seal. Good morning, my dear friends and relatives, allies. I want to say that it's an honor to be here, to be part of this special time we have here today to honor the life of an absolutely amazing, incredible, and an inspirational lady, such as Laura. She came into our life probably like she comes into everybody's life. And she was just so full of energy and bubbly and, you know, we can do it kind of spirit, and pulled us into her work, which brought us here to Grand Forks on many occasions. And I can tell you with the greatest sincerity, the time we spent here has been very uplifting, very inspirational, and it's reflected in this service. Like, you're so gifted in terms of your spirituality, your culture, your traditions, and you sing like angels. It's just such a blessing that you have, and it's known globally your gift of those angelic voices. They come to you so easily, and I just love listening to you. You know, it's so beautiful. And I was sitting there thinking, I think I'll have my funeral here. I just want to say that we've been blessed, and it was through Laura that opened the door and brought us into the community. And we met so many different people, and of course, she had us out there marching in the cold. And, we went to different valleys in the cold. I remember driving through a blizzard to get Joan was in Toronto. And she said, well, you can go. But, you know, I agree that you are who you are because you carry this with you. You're so proud. And you're not the least bit shy on declaring to the world, we're the Duke of our people, and we're beautiful, and we have a beautiful way and a beautiful lifestyle, and we're hardworking, we're industrious, and we bring life to the land. And I just absolutely admire those values that Laura had and shared with us. And you're an amazing people. I mean, all I see in this room is determination, you know. So we're so happy to be here. It was a beautiful drive over. And it's a beautiful day, and I want to say to the family that, you know, it's a lot, but at the same time, we have an opportunity here to thank our Creator for the wonderful gift of Laura and everything that she represented. And, you know, this is our way, our universal way of thanking the Creator for that gift and taking a moment to reflect on those values. We have an obligation to carry that forward in our own lives. So I want to see you all out there in the cold. You know, to carry your spirit forward. And it's actually Cabbage Roll Sunday. But thank you for having us. We have to skitter home now. For those of you that don't know, Joan's MLA for Vancouver Mount Pleasant. She got in by an absolute landslide. And when we first met Laura, Joan was nowhere near being an MLA. But Laura helped to inspire me, you know, and I want to thank you all for that. So, you know, it's been a blessing to have known her and worked with her. And, you know, this is important, this poppy, what it represents, particularly where this world is right now. You know, we need our collective voice to rise up and get back to peace. Why? Amen.
For your warm stories and words of wisdom and words of honor.
And we're truly grateful for the Aboriginal, your cultural participation here today, both yourselves and the drummers and the facets. We kind of come together as a family today in a beautiful verse. We're so grateful for all of you. We'd like to ask Laura's niece, Jackie Rolko, and her daughter, Allie, to sing a song if they're willing and share a message.
Hi, everyone. So I have two brief notes to read. The first says, we are very deeply sorry for the loss of your mother, grandmother, sister, and friend. We are unable to be there with you, as the young ones are working, and the old ones are, well, old. And besides, I don't believe we have enough bags and cases full of pills, ointments, salves, liquid medicines, and of course, all that Metamucil we would need. However, believe me when I say, you are in our hearts, and our thoughts and prayers, and hopes for the journey that we must work through. And of course, we will pray for the soul of our kind, smart, direct, memorable, loving cousin Laura. With love, Hannah and Doug, Betty, George and Brent, Melanie and Grant and Thomas. The second note I have been asked to read on behalf of my grandmother, Mary Levitt, sister to Laura. To my dear sister Laura, when I think of you, I'm reminded of your passionate advocacy, dedication, and compassion. You were always such a strong advocate for the underdog and for your ideals. Whether it was a cause such as the peace movement or a person who needed help, you gave it your all and supported them through thick and thin, sometimes at the expense of your own health. While we may have disagreed on some subjects, I will always appreciate that we would leave discussions with total respect for one another's opinions. I'm not sure what our family will do without you so capably keeping us on track with Duke-Moore traditions. Thank you for being a part of my life, and happy journey to the next chapter. We will miss you. Love your sister, Mary.
As you know, my Aunt Laura had a big energy, and how she greeted life is how she greeted, well, it felt like to me, every individual, and me especially. She would always lean in. She'd be a little louder than you would think she would be. And the energy was huge, and the huts were big. And so is the space, and it kind of brings to mind a famous snapshot of a picture, and those of you might know my paternal grandfather, Walter Levidoff, who, even when I was a little kid, would make stories, you know, we'd be eating Kraft dinner, I'd be 8 years old, and he'd say, do you know what Kraft did in the wars? So we were having political discussions, and he'd run with, you know, he'd come out with the Time magazine about what was happening in Central America, and, you know, we're 8 and 10 years old, and so we would kind of see that lead and run. But the one person who never ran was Laura. And at many family functions, we would see my Deb Lebedev and Laura leaning in and a little bit louder and having the hottest political discussions. And some families would chant going in and joining that discussion, and others would leave a big wave around. But it's an amazing picture because they would be like disagreeing in a big way, but they were so in their happy place. That's what they love to do. And of course, Laura was also the amazing keeper of knowledge. And my Mama Polly, her mom, when she was young, had this tiny little leather-bound book which she saved lots of her pennies for to get. And she still had, but she passed. And in that book, she would have everything of births and deaths, and if you had a surgery, and if you owed her money, and if she paid you back. And that book was passed to Laura, and then of course Lunia has taken up that task. But even as yesterday in the parking lot, and Kalina and I were having a conversation, and it was just so subtle, it was just like that, where she was asking me questions about some of Laura's involvement. And I was going, oh, yeah, I'm not exactly sure. Was that a federal program, a provincial program? What year did that go in? And instantly my mind went to, oh, Laura would know. And then the tears just come because she knew a lot. And it kind of, not kind of, it definitely humbles me around how much I leaned on her. And probably with not as much respect as I would hope she felt. But, so I think now we're all going to have to lean in and take the invitation. And as the gentleman said, wear our white poppies and continue on. And with that, sharing, Allie and I are going to share a song. And once we start, you'll definitely understand why we chose it today. It definitely speaks Laura. How many roads must a man walk before you call him on hand? And how many seas must a white dove sail before she sleeps in the sand? Yes, and how many times must the cannonballs fly before ever end? The answer, my friend, is blowing in the wind. The answer is blowing in the wind. Yes, and how many years must a mountain exist before it's washed to the sea? And how many years can some people exist before they belong to the and how many times can a man turn his head and pretend that he just doesn't see? The answer, my friend, is blowing in the wind. The answer is blowing in the wind. Yes, and how many times must a man look before he can see the sky? And how many years must one man have before he can hear people cry? Yes, and how many just take to realize that many people have died? The answer, my friend, is blowing in the wind. The answer is blowing in the wind.
Thank you so much, ladies. I think Laura's looking down on us and just smiling.
So we'd like to ask Rolly, Russell, Emily, and every single feed rider to come up and share some words.
Thank you. Not yours in LA, there is words for him to so I don't think my words is think about the idea of the throat in a lake and those ripples in that lake. That is the power of the people who comes to the lake. I think the lesson that the Lord has taught us is we go over to the carry component. She's in all of us now, I think, and that work forward is important. I will share the hymn was translated by Natasha. Sleep on, beloved ancestors. Sleep on, beloved ancestors. Sleep, may your hearts be at ease. We who live on will remember your journey toward wisdom and peace. Living through hardship and suffering, you struggled to do what was right. The path you wanted to is before us now. Your way forward is light. Imprisoned or sent into exile, your source of strength is your faith. You marched through the tundra of Siberia, refusing to give in to hate. Today, we remember your courage. We honor your strength and your pain. We're sitting together, praying through and forward again. Sleep on, beloved ancestors. Sleep, may your hearts be at ease. We who live on will continue your journey towards wisdom and peace.
Thank you for your moving words, Rolly, and we're grateful that you shared Natasha's translation of Stephen Biographical. Thank you for your friendship with Laura. And thank you for all of your hard work, the apology to the children who were interred in New Jersey.
We'd now like to ask Richard Canning, MP for Southern Masquerade, to say a few words.
Well, thank you, and I'd really like to thank the family for inviting me to say a few words, to have that privilege. It's so wonderful to be here to celebrate Laura's life, and as everyone knows, I love nature, and Laura was a force of nature. She was easy to love. I just wanted to thank everyone here for that beautiful singing as well. I remember the first time I was in this hall, or at least the hall that was on this spot back in 1970. When I came here with a group of students from Ontario, I was supposed to be part of a student exchange. And we came out here for a day trip and had lunch in this hall, lunch prepared by this congregation. And it was so wonderful. And one of the students from Ontario asked one of the men, how can we thank the women for this wonderful lunch? And the man said, well, you have to go up to them. And this still to this day is the only Russian I know. Can you say, я люблю тебя, обцелуй меня? Maybe whoever said that was in his body. But you know, when I go to Ottawa and I speak about my writing, I often say that I have the honor to represent the most beautiful writing in Canada. And I want to say, as an interview that comes from the community of peace activists, the activists for social justice, that I think is really unique in this country. And of course, it's to a large part rooted in the Liturgical community, but certainly in the time that I had this job, the heart of that was Laura Savinkoff. She was always contacting me, telling me to come to meetings here, go to the Suyas for the march, come to Nagasaki Day, to Hiroshima Day, she was just as people have said, fearless and fierce worker for peace. I always thought she embodied that, the Tugalore tenet of peace and toil, because she toiled for peace. And working for peace is hard work. It takes courage and tenacity and perseverance, especially in this day and age. And Laura taught us all of that. And I was just here 3 weeks ago at the meeting that Laura organized. Somebody has already mentioned that, but as I was driving into town, I was listening to the radio, and I heard a quote on the radio that really, I thought, fitting for the work of a peace activist like Laura. And the quote was, I think it was something like this: anything worth doing in this world cannot be accomplished in a single lifetime. And she mentioned that at the meeting, and I had no idea how fitting it would be just a week later when she passed. So we have all learned so much from Laura, and we have a job to do. I just want to, again, say goodbye to my friend Laura. We will miss you. We will never forget you. So thank you, Lim Lim, and blessed are the peacemakers.
Thank you very much, Richard.
Thank you for your warm words. Now, we'd like to ask J.J. Berrigan, Executive Director of the Union of Spiritual Communities of Christ, a people organization, to share some words of solace and wisdom.
Дорогая семья, покойницы, пожалуйста, примите наши личные соболезнования о потере вашей мамы, бабушки, сестре, тете, прабабушке, нашей любимой сестре. Не все воли Господа Бога принять в душу свой вечный обитель, а вас утешить и укрепить во время нашего потери. И благодарю вас, братья и сестры, за то, что вы пришли помогнуть семье отвращаться своей тихой мамой, бабушкой, прабабушкой. Очень деятельный человек в нашем обществе. Мы все будем слушать этого. And we would like to also thank all of you brothers and sisters that have traveled distances to come and to be with the family and to say goodbye to this wonderful person. The words are difficult. It's difficult to find words to describe such a person who lived life to the fullest, as much as she was able to. It has been said, really an inspiration to us. I in particular wish to thank our Indigenous community for being present here today. There is much common ground, not only in our heritage in terms of our culture, but even in terms of our history. And I often have to remind people that I represent that when we first moved to Canada from Georgia in 1899 and settled on those prairies in what is now known as Saskatchewan. We were called white Indians by the indigenous people that lived around us, or that we lived with. And they were helpful to our people in making it through that difficult time of becoming acclimatized to a new land, a new environment, a new life. This woman that we're saying goodbye to captured much of that in the course of her life cut too short. Yeah. As just been said by Richard and Rolly and others here today. It was a couple of weeks ago, we were in the Holy Trinity Church, the Anglican Church, commiserating on the tragedy taking place in the Middle East, Gaza specifically, and wondering what kind of world we are finding ourselves in. And sometimes when we get a little bit depressed or discouraged, disgruntled, then we have to look to the person with Laura to get back on track. And that is a statement in itself, because no doubt there are many people, just like in any kind of environment, there are people that turn people on, there are people that turn people off. And that's part of us, part of all of us. We try to get along, and sometimes we just come across the wrong way or rub each other the wrong way, and those things become latched onto us and are difficult to let go. I probably first met Laura guarding against hope. That was a time of our deeper troubles. I would come home from working afternoon shift at the sawmill and drive to an encampment to brothers and sisters, and then come past our guards, and then park the car and sometimes stay up all night guarding with them. Guarding against people on the other side of the fence. And we were all for peace and love and harmony. And so we just have to look at our world and see people of the same color collapse and creed even, beating the heck out of each other. When we have so much opportunity to do so much good, that good is just crying out to be done. And sometimes it's hard to hear that cry because of all of the dimness and all of the woe that we have created. And if we haven't created it, then we've at least let it happen. Thinking, geez, I can't stop it. I can't make it better. It's too big for me, too big of a thing for me to take on. And as we sit here and listen to what has been said about this fine woman, about what she was able to take on, and deliver. And even change the thinking of some people, which ultimately would lead to a change of their actions. Because she had the courage to step out of that picture that we tend to put people in, whether we know well or even not so well. Oh, yeah, that's the kind of person that person is. And so then, if we're fortunate, I guess, there's occasions where we break through those bubbles and get to know a person. And so that's the way I got to know Laura. When it was Karina in the biography writing about the centennial coordinating for me. So that here were people that used to guard against one another, or be aggrieved against one another, now working together on something that united them. Deference, admiration for the courage and the actions of their forebears. Because a lot of people talk about doing big things. A lot of people wish they could do big things. We're fortunate to come from a group of people that not only talk the talk, but walk the walk. And then over the course of the last 100 years, a lot of us have been really good at talking. And it seems we've almost forgotten how to walk. Yet we want to run so fast. Yes, it was interesting. Working together with people from different beliefs in celebration of something that we share. And so that brought us together. And it served to bring two groups of people a little bit closer together. People that proclaim their desire for peace and had difficulty arriving or coming to it themselves in their own backyard. It's easy to call for peace somewhere out there. How easy is it to find and to build that peace in here? It's not in here. How in the heck could it be anywhere else? And we're still there. Before I left for a couple of weeks, the last thing I saw or what I was witnessing was the episode shared by some previous speakers about Victorian apology and compensation. And so I watched the recording, and then I started to watch the recording in the reception. And then I had to run out. I didn't finish watching that because I had to come to a meeting in Castlebar. But I saw a person walking up to the microphone before they were waved off. And I recognized that person. And one thing, those of us that know Laura, that knew Laura, that know Laura, know that she was driven to have the last word. And so I did not hear what that last word was. And I heard that it disturbed people. It disturbed people on all sides. And I wish I could say I was surprised.
So we like to say that.
And that at one sudden time, to me represented the beauty of what could be and the tragedy of what was. The tragedy of what is that we are still bearing the burden that this woman tried to get us all to release. That burden of fear, of anger. Because you can't carry those burdens and work for peace. You have to flush them. Otherwise, you will not be heard. This woman was able to flush them, and that's why she was heard by our government representatives. From our mayor to our regional district to our MLA, to our MP. I'm only asking that we that come from our family, we Dukaboers, hear that plea to flush from ourselves that fear. The fear of each other. You know, just when many of us thought the world was getting a little bit better, we get banged and separated for all sorts of reasons, folks, that don't need to be. Well, it seems that lately, whatever one sees, there's an outcry from the opposite. It's a beautiful day today. No, it's not. This woman tried to get us to overcome that which she was finally able to. She had to deal with a lot of challenges in her life, personal and public. And she tried the best that she could. And she became active even with those sectors that she was in opposition to, because she understood the value of common ground, communication, of dialogue. I hope that we all remember that. And so, family, it was not easy for you either. You had to bear a lot of that burden. I know how grateful she was to you as her daughters. I know how much she appreciated her granddaughter. And words can't describe her feelings towards her Tatiana. Tatiana was standing out in the front, handing out light bottles. And was shared earlier by Laura, through her efforts, ensured that ongoing non-violent struggle for a more peaceful planet will continue. I don't have to tell those of you that knew Laura how proud she was of the work that Tatiana was doing here at home. How proud she was of Karina's work in London. And how proud she was of Koya and Unity. right here helping her make her way. And again, I have to mention sister and other relatives that have been up here before me that helped her walk a difficult journey. I know that all of you here also have difficult journeys. In fact, if we don't have a difficult journey in front of us, why are we here walking? Life is about meeting those challenges, getting over them, so that these little people that are sitting here with us, when they get to be a little bit bigger, they're going to remember this. They're going to meet their challenges. And they're going to look to their kith and kin, first of all, for directions about how to overcome and to walk together with those that earlier maybe we were walking with things. So, Боже, спасибо Тебя, благодарим Тебя за то, что Ты показала нам, как мириться. Благодарим Тебя, что Ты не боялась вступить в сотрудничество с своими братьями и сестрами. Что Ты старалась быть мостом между своими, которые были свои разногласия. И я обращаюсь всем нам, братья и сестры. Разве мы не можем быть лучше? Кто из нас не хочет быть или слушать такие слова, которые были сказано по его адресу? Мы все, каждый из нас способны этому. So, brothers and sisters, I'd just like to issue a challenge to all of us to try to represent those good words that we've heard here spoken today, and we will hear more. And when we take them home, let's see how long we could make them represent our actions. Let's see how far we could step forward in this small community, in this big planet of ours, to have those words actually represent our intentions. Just think of what a beautiful place this could be. And we're all capable of making a contribution. And so I'm just going to ask for women. I will join me in front of their mom, grandmom, and grandmom. So Thank you, family, for a well to come together to remember your family. And I just want to also welcome Peter here to this year. Anyways, thank you for being here to discuss with me.
Thank you, JJ, for your thoughtful and comforting words. We are grateful to you and your family for all the support that you provide for the community and families. Thank you for being here with us today. We'll now have a short intermission. It's been a long morning, now we're in the afternoon. Where the congregation will sing one or two hymns in order to give people time to stretch their legs, use the washroom. Those who did not get a chance to walk through to pay their respects to the deceased and offer condolences to the family, we do so while we're singing.
I was just going to say, so it's going to be a little bit of chaos as people move around, and then we could just ask the singers maybe to take turns and spell each other off so that everybody gets to support the washroom stretch if they need to. We're so grateful for your patience today, and we have a few more speakers after the break.
We'll start with Speech Audio by Elias Ancestors on page 5 of the song. We already mentioned the habits of the
speech to the men. Thank you very much.
Would you please turn up the gate? Thank you, singers, and thank you for allowing this time to people to walk through in the response. We've been a lot of speakers today, and there actually are more speakers. So what we're going to have to do, unfortunately, is we have to take the speakers downstairs during lunch in order to finish the presentations that they have. So now we're nearing the end of the service here upstairs, and the time has come to prepare for the first departure. We finished, we're going to have Mayor with Grand Forks come in and say a few words.
And following Everett, we'll have a member of our Palestinian community say just a very few words. And thank you all so much for your patience. I know it's hot, it's angry, and we'll struggle on just the way we're going to run this too. Thank you.
It is absolutely my honor to be here on behalf of the city of Grand Forks. Our community lost an advocate for peace, and actually that's not true. We lost a warrior for peace. And I'm here today, but I'm not alone. I have councillors in the regional district here. I have Councillor Thompson, Councillor Fleur, Councillor Studi, who's really working up there in the top, and Linda Kay, Reese, our regional district rural Grand Forks here with me as well. Here to support me and to tell me to do a good job on that. So it's a bit like managing a council, Monday council meetings. But yeah, I got to meet him just after I moved to Grand Forks and we took over the funeral home here. I met her, most of you at funerals. And it was a short time after that, and Laura decided that she needed to educate me a little bit in the actual way of doing services and the Russian tradition, and the importance of us that learn some Russian and be able to sing along. And you know, Laura was not always right, but she was never wrong. There was a few, there was a few two-year after that I ran for mayor for the first time. And as you can imagine, Laura had an opinion. And she said, look, you'll never be elected in this community if you don't advocate for peace. And so she said, you're having your first peace walk, and it's on Saturday. And Councillor Thompson and I were the parade, led the parade with the banners, and the picture, if you don't believe me, is actually is on our Peace Initiative web page and on the newsletter. I look a little younger then and not as much gray hair, but no, absolutely. And I can tell you, it was my very first peace walk, but it has not been my last. Laura was one of those people that wore her advocacy in her sleeve. You did not meet this lady before you were very clear what was important to her, and then what she thought should be important to you as well. My associates in the government laughed at they were probably agree with me. If Laura asked you to attend a conference or a walk, or didn't matter where it was, and you didn't show up, you were not in her good book. That little paper book that she, well, you were in that. You were in that. So I've attended quite a few, and I can't recall our Elected officials have also done the same. And they knew, there was a reason. And she may have came, you thought was to help her walk. Maybe she would stay, something like the chance if we stayed in the line. But she was a strong advocate, and I would be that Laura put it to you. And we did. And you know, she was very proud of the fact that speakers would come to the meeting here and would comment to her. There were a few peace gatherings where there would be a lost representation of the political forces in your community, but Laura stayed there. And you know, she moved very well within the political scene. You know, she felt as comfortable in Victoria or in Ottawa or in my office as she would be in this place right here. And she was respected. I believe it was one of the speakers were talking about the, JJ was mentioning about being in Victoria. I had the absolute pleasure of traveling to Victoria as Mayor of Grand Forks to witness the apology to the Freedom-ites, Sons of Freedom. And, you know, she was a very strong advocate, and she was there in all her force. It was my pleasure to be there. It was an honor, and it will be something that I will remember for my entire life. If you were in that legislature and you heard them, again, the choir sing from the gallery, first of all, almost unheard of in our political history, certainly within the legislature. But there was not a dry eye in any of the MLAs that were present there, and for me it was a real honor. But JJ said he didn't see the end. Well, MLA was what I did. Laura came out and as they were kind of shunned away. Would that have stopped her? Absolutely not. She got up at the end and said her piece. The last word came from Laura. And I remember leaning to MLA Russell, understanding the city, some of us, and said, you know what, you and I think we'll be fighting back here again. She did it with all graces as Laura would. Laura has, as I said, she's been a very strong advocate for peace, and it meant a lot to her family. We've got to love her. And I would say she would get into something. You know, we always got an abortion, which I can smell beefing up from downstairs, so I promise I won't be long. We got to love her. When I got the call on Easter Sunday, when her courier called her home, my son Aaron went to the hospital, and we got a call and said, Dad, it's Laura. And I go, Laura? It's Laura. I go, oh, we were speechless. Because I had just seen her on the previous Saturday at the peace gathering in Palestine, Israel, and she was in her full form. But we decided it was time to call. When we leave this earthly tent that we have, you know, you can't take a lot with you. You may have seen comments that hers is falling stuck behind in the U-Haul. That's where you're going, but it ain't going with you. So you can't take your money and you can't take all the stuff. But when we do leave, we leave our legacy. And I've said this to the girls, and I'll say that publicly here. This is Laura's legacy. They will carry on. They will carry on her battle. They will be her. Her legacy is also sitting here in front of me as well. Because Laura affected each one of us in a very special and personal way. I will not decline a peace conference or a peace meeting. I can assure you for probably the rest of my life. Why? Because Laura didn't look at that way. In the Christian tradition, when someone passes, the scriptures say that, you know, when you get to the golden gate, the entrance to the pearly gate, there's a verse that well done, welcome is well done, thy good and brave, that is good and grateful servant, enter into the joy of the Lord. When Laura left this earth on Easter Sunday morning, Laura heard those words, well done, thy good and faithful servant. she heard those words. And that gives me great comfort. I will miss her. Our family will miss her. Our city will miss her. But I know she is enjoying life that is well deserved. That's in a place of peace, finally. She is seen. With that, I will raise my hands to Laura and say that you watch.
Thank you, Everett, for your warm stories and kind words.
I just have one or two people who would like to share upstairs, and we're grateful for all of your patience. During the intermission here during the receiving line, I had a gentleman pull me aside and ask if he could just have a few minutes to say a few words. So I'd like to invite Adam Hamdan, please.
Wrong speaking. Laura, we will all miss you. I met Laura listening to her. I actually met her when she had organized ceasefire rally down in Grand Forks. And actually, a lot of you there that would not have met me otherwise. And that's why I'm standing here. Because I'm one of those people that Laura fought for. Laura fought for the Palestinians. I'm a Palestinian. Laura fought against bigotry of all its forms. I faced bigotry. Laura fought against hate. Many people would not even listen to me because of hate. Laura put me in front of many of those people and let me speak. And when we held that peace conference a couple of weeks ago, we expected hecklers. And I called Laura and said, you know, we're expecting hecklers. You know what she said? I'll be right there in front of you. That's exactly what she said. And for that, I thank you. You know, a lot of people got up here and talked about how she worked on many fronts, whether it's the indigenous rights or the Palestinians. And I've sat and talked to Laura, and I've talked about conflicts that you would not even consider. You would not know which continent they're in, or even think about these people. And on behalf of all of these people that you fought for, Laura, we could not be here, I say thank you.
Thank you very much, Adam. And it's true, she had a heart as wide as the world and probably wider. So, actually, comment to Laura. We know by Alex Savinkoff, retired member of Parliament for British Columbia Southern Interior, to share some memories of Laura.
Thank you very much, and thank you for inviting me. It's all been said. There's nothing really to add about Laura other than, first of all, and sent for sympathy she wasn't able to make it today. We've often shared whether we've done things. It's an honor for me. I met Laura, first of all, I think in 2003 when I first ran for office. She had faith in me. We worked on campaigns together. But more than that, when I was elected, you know, there are people, and I'm sure those of you in office or like I've been in office, sometimes find things they're kind of silly or they're crazy, or you wonder, why are you doing this? And then you look at all the shenanigans going on in Parliament or in Victoria or in Council, and you come back and you get your feet on the ground. And there's people like Laura, many of you here, who inspire you to go on. You know, that's what it's about. It's about all the good things they're doing day in and day out, and it inspires you to go continue. I just remember Laura for that inspiration she gave me to hopefully be a better person. She had faith in me. But then she became a dear friend, and we would forth and communicate. Up until recently, she kept sending me the written bulletin because I don't do stuff online. And so it's hard to say goodbye to a dear friend, and Lord, may you rest in peace. Thank you for everything you've done. Make this the world a better place.
Thank you, Alex, for your kind words. So the time has come to prepare for Laura's departure. We ask that the family please rise and address the congregation. Laura's daughters, Lunia and Poina, wish to express their gratitude on behalf of the family.
Thank you, everybody, for coming. As well, we have a lot of people, and it's hard to fit everybody in. We're speaking because there's so many words to say. But we do want to thank everyone. Well, thank the ladies. I thank them right away because I know they're waiting for us to come downstairs. They cooked a wonderful lunch, and hope everybody enjoys, and everybody is welcome. I'd like to thank everybody. And I'm not very prepared, and I didn't mean very much. We are not felt alone. Thank you to everybody. The sense of community is very, very clear here. And Mama, we're very happy, so thank you for coming. Not the way we wanted her to rally everybody together, but I think the singing and the kind words have remained profound in us. Keep peace. Thank you.
Now, Samuel or family members are invited to recite Psalmi at this time. Пожалуйста, прочитайте ваши Psalmi.
Удивление Москвы даже там самостоятельно. Вижу меня Москвы породила, вижу меня Москвы породила. А мне главное чешу. Дайте меня Москву, все посредственно, все разумно. Проиграли ходи. Правильно, любили.
Ready to please rise for the reading of Ocho Nash, the Lord's Prayer. We will recite it one to another in this way. We now ask that if during her life Laura offended or hurt anyone in word or deed, please forgive her. May God forgive us all. Если Луша в своей жизни кого из вас обидела, пожалуйста, простите ее. The family will now have some time to say their farewells to Laura as we sing the final hymn. The casket will be closed and wheeled to the entrance ramp where the casket doors will assume their positions. The family will follow their loved ones out the hall. The rest of us will follow the family outside to say our final farewell. The family will stand in front of the hearse and face the congregation to exchange farewells. Laura's remains will then be taken to the funeral home for cremation, and everyone will remain at the hall. And after we exchange traditional greetings with the cooks, we will be invited to go downstairs for a meal in Laura's honors led by the boundary drummers. We'll now sing the hymn Prabiluja, the Razluchny Chas, the hour of our parting has come.
Just reminding you to
Посохла зеленая травочка, ну как нам ее не поливать? Ушла ты от нас, наша мамочка, нам больше тебя не видать. Ушла ты от нас, наша мамочка, нам больше тебя не видать. Взошло для всех солнце весеннее, не майское, ночки осенние, печально на сердце легли, но нам только ночки осенние, печально на сердце легли. Лежишь ты вся в белом убранная, и всем нам молчанье даришь. 3 дня собираешь собрания, но только ни с кем не говоришь. 3 дня собираешь собрания, но только ни с кем не говоришь. Лежит наша мама, не отзывается, в иной мир позвал ее Бог, и сердце в нас так и разрывается от боли и жгучих тревог, и сердце в нас так и разрывается от боли и жгучих тревог. Венки да венки, на них розочки, суждено им поблеснуть и увять. Никто не утрет наши слезочки, не утешить, как родная мать. Никто не утрет наши слезочки, не утешить, как родная мать. Спи, мама, дни спи, темную ноченьку, мы будем к могиле ходить, и в сердце чувство народное, и мертвое сердце будить, и в сердце чувство народное, и мертвое сердце будить.
The Lord